I'm Jesse Draper, the Valley Girl. What does your company do? Have you ever Googled yourself? Totally. What makes a great entrepreneur? What's your next big idea? Tweeting's like my favorite. Let's talk business. I'm like the Valley Girl. Well, here we are on the Valley Girl show with author Michael Lewis. We are in your writing, crib, if you will.
Man cave. I think
your
it was
man
in it.
cave.
Yes.
This is exactly what I would imagine, a great writer, where they would write. This is exactly what I would picture. Like, how do you write? What is your process?
I come here and I procrastinate for 3 hours, and then I get down to it.
Then you write one sentence.
No. When I get into it, I get into it. But it usually takes me a while to get into it. And it's just isolated. Nobody bothers me.
So now tell me, how many books have you written?
I don't know. A dozen. Roughly,
a dozen?
Roughly.
And how many have been published? Have all your books been published? Because
Yes.
I know, a big thing for a writer is not necessarily always getting
I don't have a finished book that was unpublished.
Wow.
I have bits and pieces of books that I abandoned. But,
High five!
But bits.
Good job.
Not many.
That's impressive. And what was the very first book you published?
Liar's Poker.
Liar's Poker.
Yeah, it was a story of my time working on Wall Street.
Yeah,
When I was basically right out of school.
You started on Wall Street. Now, did you have any idea you were going to be this incredible writer? And was this always your passion?
No. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got out of college. It was the thing I did that when I did it, I lost track of the time. And that was the big thing. When I did it, I just lost track of time. And I received, I can say, almost nothing but encouragement from the publishing industry and magazines. So, I met with a bit of resistance when I first started, but, once I got going, I never felt like it was, no one ever told me not to do it, basically.
So you've written about a dozen books.
Mm-hmm.
So which was the most memorable and, your favorite to write?
It's like asking which is my favorite child. It really is like that. You don't think of it as favorites. And there are two problems. One is that when you judge the book as the writer, you judge it like dives, not just the quality of the execution, but the difficulty of the dive.
Yeah.
And so some books, even though the execution might not have been quite as smooth as other books, also that maybe it was a much more difficult book to execute. So you feel differently about each one of them. I feel a lot more pride in the books that were real books as opposed to books that were collections of pieces. Some of those books are collections of pieces.
Yeah,
and I like
Boomerang.
the pieces.
Like
Boomerang is a special child because it was one of two books I've done where although I published most of it in a magazine, in this case Vanity Fair, I plotted it as a book. So it wasn't a random collection of pieces, it was a collection of pieces that was meant to hang together as a book.
And you traveled all over the world for Boomerang.
Not all over the world.
Well, to different economies.
I
economies.
I went to Iceland, Greece, Ireland, and Germany.
So you had specifically mapped this out?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the most surprising when studying all of those different kind of economies?
Well, the big surprise, which got me to write the book in the first place, was even though I'd written The Big Short, which was about the financial crisis, I kind of thought that the financial crisis was the same thing everywhere. I was amazed when I got into it just how peculiar the local effects were of the financial crisis. So the cause is the same. Everybody in the world everybody in the developed world is exposed to this temptation. The temptation is the banks will lend money to anybody at too cheap interest rates. So once that temptation is presented to societies, they all react a little, in some cases a lot differently from each other. And how they reacted to the temptation told you so much about the place. And that was the opportunity that I was exploring. It was a sort of opportunity it was financial disaster travel journalism. It was a chance to walk into society and write something that was penetrating about the place just through the way they'd handled money in this particular period in history.
So now, were either of your parents writers, or did they have any sort of creative thing that you feel like inspired you at all?
No. The short answer is no.
Were you always a big reader?
Yes.
Yeah.
My parents, what they did do, my father especially, was tell stories. New Orleans is a great oral storytelling culture. It's very good at finding narratives.
So that must have been, encouraged you in a way, storytelling, because that's essentially what you're doing.
Not being boring. When you sit down to write, if your first goal is not to be boring, it's not a bad goal to start with. Just don't be boring.
Just don't be boring.
And then after that, whatever happens is gravy. But and if you have a sense of what's boring and what's not boring,
right,
that's useful.
Now, I want to talk about you. I don't want to say you're at your peak right now, because you are definitely going to peak even more. I know you're going to do amazing, even more amazing
books. I might
books.
be at my peak.
But you must feel great right now. Moneyball is out, the movie, you have Boomerang out. I heard you're developing a TV show. Is that true?
I'm not. There are two things actually. One is I wrote a fatherhood memoir called Home Game that's being developed by ABC. It's about our family into a sitcom. Probably the names will be changed. And I'm writing a pilot for a show for HBO.
Awesome.
It's mostly done. I'm handing it in next week.
And then Moneyball, what do you think of Moneyball, the movie?
The movie was so much better.
Oh, it's so good.
And I didn't understand how they're going to make it. So it's so much better than anything else.
Have you ever seen a Moneyball? I brought you a Moneyball.
Is it money to the core, or is it just a couple of bucks so we're wrapped around a cheap ball?
Well, let's pretend it's money to the core.
Yeah, because it doesn't really feel like something I want to keep. But that's great. I mean, that's nice of you to do that. That's very literal.
But the movie was incredible. I mean, it really kept you I was so into it.
Relief is how I felt when I watched it. I didn't really have a sense of whether people would like it or not like it. I liked it.
What is your next book going to be about?
I don't know.
Do people pitch you book ideas?
All the time.
Really?
Yes. I would say, I don't think it's an exaggeration, daily. Either I get an email from someone saying, I want you to write a book about me in so many words. Or, I have this subject that I'm obsessed about, you need to write a book about it. That happens all the time.
So what is your favorite food?
Cookies.
Cookies.
I have a cookie, every now and then a cookie problem.
Chocolate chip cookies?
It almost doesn't matter what kind of cookie. There's some kind of cookies. I like harder cookies, not soft cookies.
Okay.
So it's always disappointing when I bite into a chocolate chip cookie.
We get along well because I like the softer kind.
I like the crispy chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about.
There's nothing I crave that's sophisticated or interesting. I mean, I'll tell you, I just had to, for reasons not worth going into, I just fasted for 48 hours.
Did you really?
And I had to clean my system. So weak with hunger. After 48 hours, totally empty. But at the end of this process, I could eat. The first thing I hit was the cookie tub. There's a tub of cookies, and which my wife will sometimes banish and sometimes allow in, and I ate 10 cookies.
I love that.
Cookie! Nom, 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 oh, nom, nom, nom.
Now, I have a question before we finish up. Would you ever think of running for public office?
Only president.
Only if you were going to be president?
Only if I could be president. And if it only took a week.
Okay.
Any more than a week, I think you would get old.
Only took a week of being president or campaigning?
Campaigning.
I think campaigning is probably harder than being president.
I take it back. If someone, I'd campaign for a week to be president. If someone came to me and said, we'll make you senator, which can happen. You could be senator for 6 years, knowing you were never going back. Write a book about it, probably.
Yeah.
And never have to do any campaigning. And not have to please anybody. You can just go,
be senator.
Yeah, you piss everybody off.
Hello, I'm a senator.
And I'm the senator, you can't get rid of me. I'm there for 6 years, and I'm not running again, so screw you. I'm going to do what I think is the right thing to do, and then I'm out of here.
I love it. Well, Michael, this was so much fun. You are just a blast. And I was hoping that, you could walk me around and show me a couple things in your office.
Yes. So this is my office. And my office has 2 rooms. This is the main room.
Okay.
It's where I do my work. I sleep on the floor in there for about 15 minutes when I'm writing, usually about 15 minutes a day. I want to take a nap about 3 in the afternoon. I just lay on the floor like a dead man.
You're a 3 in the afternoon napper.
Yes, but because I don't get enough sleep at night. But this, so what we have, take you around. These piles right here, these are works in progress. A book about New Orleans I'm going to write one day. a book that's a sequel to Moneyball, a sequel companion piece to Moneyball that I sold when I sold Moneyball. So I've been keeping notes for it for 8 years.
So these are books that you're just already creating
the ideas for. 2 screenplays, magazine piece ideas. It basically what it is. Here's a football from the shooting of the movie The Blind Side, with everybody's autograph on it, like Sandra Bullock and so on and so forth.
Oh, and then
closets. Here's where I keep my own books because I usually ask to give them away.
What are these?
This is a pocket edition of Liar's Poker. The whole book is in there. The whole book.
Oh my gosh.
It's a flip book. It's a new. This just came out. This is the British publisher just published this. So it's a flip book. And I'm writing the film script right now for Liar's Poker.
That's awesome.
So I carry one of these with me to remind myself because I actually never completely reread it.
Are these encyclopedias?
Yes, with various reference books. So the things at the top are that's Oxford English Dictionary. Look up pink.
Oh goodness.
See if pink is interesting.
Oh goodness.
If it's just a color or if it means something else. To blink or wink in a sleepy or sly manner, to look slyly. So that's very interesting.
So I'm sly.
So your morality is being called into question by the colors you wear. When I do book tours, I do TV shows, and to keep myself interested, I steal the mugs. Sometimes I give you the mugs, and sometimes I steal the mugs. So Colbert told me I couldn't have a mug.
And you took it?
And I just took it anyway.
You're saying you're a mug stealer.
And the only mug that's got pink on it is Chelsea Handler.
Well, good thing.
There we go. Yes, the Valley Girl mug. They will get a lot of use because it jumps off the shelf. It's on my desk right now. Steve Martin's old comedy routines.
Oh, love it.
Aziz Ansari's comedy routines.
He is awesome.
Robin Williams' comedy routines. Spanish lessons that I abandoned and I'm about to start again.
So you like comedy? You like comedy shows?
I do. Tabitha, my wife, gave me these.
Oh, okay.
The pictures of my kids, mainly in various stages of life. Picture of me pitching for the Isidore Newman High School when I was probably 15 or 16. That my coach gave me. I wrote a book about him, and he gave me this along with a poem about pitching.
Well, thanks for showing us around.
Sure. Thanks for coming by.
Can we go throw a boomerang?
So the thing about boomerangs is they never work, so we'll just accept that as the premise of this little experiment. All right, here we go. Ha! In the trees. All right, that looked a little dangerous. All right, hold on. We'll do it one more time.
Awesome.
Hold on. We'll do it
one more.
We'll do it twice.
Okay.
All right, I'll throw a little lighter.
Run!
It didn't do anything.
I'm like the Valley Girl.
And I'm like Michael Lewis.
Well, that was fun. I like your office.
It's like my office.
It's like your office. And now it's time for your Dits moment.
It's grueling, you're tired, you're fishing around the clock, all the rest.
I just took a big gulp.
But that's all right. You spill a little.
On myself.
That's all right.